like to introduce our candidate, our next senator of the 22nd Senatorial District. And with your
once in a while, having a rather loud voice comes in handy. There's no microphone here, so hopefully you can all hear me. I usually have to apologize for how loud I speak because I really am tone deaf, so I can't really hear myself. A little hearing loss. First of all, again, I know they've been thanked, and I've thanked them, but I want to publicly acknowledge my good friend Mike Lotney for what he's done in bringing this event together, and his lovely wife and owner of this prior to this establishment. Tried to run for governor once, it didn't work out, but maybe now is the time. I repeated a line. I read a lot of classical literature, compliments of a Jesuit education, a lot of Shakespeare, and I was caught by one particular line in Julius Caesar in a speech in which the line goes that there comes a tide in the affairs of men when taken at the flood leads on to victory and success. Omitted, you're bound to spend the rest of your life in the shallows. Well, I firmly believe right now is the tide in the affairs of men. In my lifetime, even in 1994 when I ran for governor, I have not quite seen the devastation that's out there right outside those doors. People have lost their homes, they've lost their jobs, they've lost their businesses, their taxes are going through the roof, and we keep sending the same politicians. They come in different shapes and sizes, they hold different elective offices, they promise you the world, they get the same nothing done. So now is the time in the affairs of men. I remember an old Irish fable that I once heard that I kind of got a charge out of it, and it was, the gist of it was that an Irishman walking with his friends with an Irish walking hat came to this point in their village. There was a high wall, and no one had ever gone over to the other side of it. And to the amazement and astonishment of his friends, he took his hat and he flung it over the wall. And of course his friend said, "Hey, that's your favorite hat. What are you doing?" And he said, "Now I know I have to go get it." So he went over the wall. Well, basically we're throwing our hat over the wall of this campaign. And that's what we're going to do to get to the other side, to find out some things. And here's what we're going to find out. We're going to find out why our property taxes keep going up and up and up. Now, if you read the same newspapers I've read, we were promised that when they build all these great casinos, and they are magnificent structures, that our property taxes were going to go down because they were going to tax the revenue. It was going to go back into the school districts and lower our property taxes. Have you seen any of that money? I haven't found anybody that has. We did a little bit of research, and we found in the Scranton School District they did get their money. They got $100. What's this, a joke? They got $100 for the entire school district to lower your property taxes? We figured it out. That averages out about 1/2 of 1 penny per property owner in the Scranton School District. If that's bringing our money back here to lower our property taxes, it hasn't happened. I don't have a panacea, and this is the formula, but we need to go find out where that money went. That's why I'm going. That's why I threw my hat over the wall. I hear a lot about jobs. What a bunch of nonsense in the product. I don't see any real jobs ever being created. There's only one person in this race. I employ 40 people. We've added 5 or 6 new jobs in the last year and a half during this worst economic period. There's only one candidate in this race that meets payroll. A lot of you do. So you understand from what I speak. The ones that don't work for people and small businesses that do, for the most part. And if I don't have the money to meet the payroll or to cover our expenses through the year, I don't have the luxury of saying we're going to put on 60 new types of sales tax in Pennsylvania to generate the revenue because we can't balance our budget, which is what our governor told us a few months ago. I don't know how 69 types of new sales tax is going to help small business or help create it or generate any jobs in this economy. I hear a lot about health care. There's only one candidate that pays for it for 40 employees. Pay for all of it. I see some union officials back there. I answered a union questionnaire today. Would you sponsor legislation that forces employers to help contribute to employees' health care plans? I pay for all of it, for 40. Does that mean I have the formula to go to Harrisburg? I don't yet. but I won't till I get there to find out what the heck is going on. That's why we threw our hat over the wall to find out what was on the other side. Let's talk about our legislature and our government. Do you know that California has tripled the population and tripled the land mass in a third of the legislature in their part-time? They seem to be doing okay out there. They can get it done. Our legislature is so over-bloated and inflated, we found out that just by cutting one staff member, you can almost cut $40 to $50 million out of the state budget per legislator. Well, how about cutting some of the legislators? Now we're talking billions of dollars. We really need 200 plus representatives and 50 senators. My idea would be to cut that number by 20%. 40 senators and 160 legislators. They can get the same job done, and a lot of the abuses and excesses that go on there would be gone. Then let's talk about some other things. The perks and the per diems. I have a problem when elected officials at all levels have better cars that we pay for than you have better health care plans, have per diems that don't get taxed, and I see people losing their homes, and legislators are buying them on our tax dollars. There's something wrong in that. You know how many homes have been lost in this district? I don't have the number right now. We'll find out. A staggering number of homes have been lost through foreclosure. Yet we're paying for theirs. People that can't pay their own mortgage have their taxes going to Harrisburg. Wrong. Something's wrong with that. So getting back to what I started this, I feel a sense of obligation. Yes, we have done fairly well. But because of that, we have, and with your help, and I want to explain something to you folks. A lot of you folks in this room do pretty well too. And you're my friends, and I know you do. I need your help so that we can represent the folks that can't afford the $20 ticket. We represent the folks that can't keep a job or don't have a job, or the businesses that are going under and have no voice. That's why I don't take any PAC money. I don't take any special interest money. That's why I've had to finance a lot of my own campaign. Well, I've had people tell me, and it's a legitimate criticism, well, Chuck, you don't want to be perceived as an elitist. I don't think anything's a perfect world. And I have to get the message out to let people know that's not what I am and not what I'm about. But I know no other way to be independent. As soon as you start taking all this special interest money, there is no way you can be independent. And let me tell you something, this just in, special interests have a vested interest in nothing getting done. They don't want anything to get done. Status quo is no problem. One of the fundamental things we're all faced with, and especially a candidacy like this, is out from the outside. It is going to shake things up, to say the least. I've heard a lot of people say that, how can one person make a difference? What can your one senator? Yeah, Pennsylvania senator is a powerful position. There's only 50 of them in this big state, but what can one person do, your one vote, your one voice? I didn't have a real good answer, but I remember a passage I once read from one of my favorite characters in history, and a beloved individual in this area because he came to this area. One of the things that mattered most to him when he got to see the impact that his brother had had on people's lives. And I looked in one of the books I read, many of them, and I pulled out something I had remembered reading. And even more eloquently than I could state, he, in one of his speeches, said this, and I brought it along. He responded to a question, can one person make a difference? And here's what he said. Let no one be discouraged by the belief there is nothing one man or woman can do against the enormous array of the world's ills. While it's true that few of us will have the ability to bend history itself, each one of us can work to change a small portion of events. It is from numberless diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time a man stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others, he sends a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. Senator Robert F. Kennedy. Let me say this campaign, at the very least, will send several ripples of hope for all the people out there that have no voice in Harrisburg or Washington, and with your help, we'll win this. Thank you.